What's going on, guys? BouseFeenux here, and today we got a crazy amount of info dropped on us in regards to game changes and character balance. Next Thursday, which is October 5th, we are getting a massive 14-page long patch added into the game. It contains everything from flicker zone fixes to a pretty sizable Centurion nerf, among other things. We'll get into all that in a second, but first, a few little things going on with For Honor that you might not be aware of. First up, we are having another double XP weekend, and that starts tomorrow. On top of that, Steel is currently 30% off, and lastly, for our weekly content, we got 3 new battle outfits, which are Cubist, Fauvist, and Minimalist. The next change coming to the game that I wanted to talk about, I feel like is pretty awesome. On the dev stream today, they brought in the lead level designer, and he previewed for us a bunch of changes to some of the more common brawl maps. They showed us 3 maps, the first of which was Canyon, and currently in the live version of Canyon, you can spawn on this bridge over the lake, which is a waste of time since no one fights there anyway. In the revamped version of this map, however, all 4 players will spawn in the graveyard area. The second match they showed was Overwatch, and instead of fighting above on the 2 bridges, they're spawning players down in the courtyard where the B point is on Dominion. This will definitely cut down on ledging and other hazards, seeing as there aren't any ledges to be thrown off of at all. But anyway, the last map they're tweaking is Sanctuary Bridge. I absolutely hate this map for brawls because the fighting area is really narrow, especially when you take into account all the ledges and hazards. This is changing though. In the revamped version of this map, we'll be looking at a much larger fight area, a different spawn location, and the removal of the spike hazards. The pit section is being covered with a trapdoor that'll open during the fight, so you'll still have to watch out for that, but all in all, I think these changes are massively needed. I'm pretty excited for them. But let's move on to the big topic, character balance. They didn't go super into detail with every character getting a change during the live stream, but I was fortunate enough to get a hold of the patch notes a bit early so I could make this video. Now, going over 14 pages of notes in one video is a bit insane, so I'll cover the high points and leave the patch notes down below for you guys to follow along with and read on your own. So first on the chopping block, general fight changes. Unlocked attacks are getting another pass, and a large number of them, if not all of them, will be fixed with the coming patch. Next up, we've got character-specific changes. Now, they must have felt bad about the massive pummeling Warlord received in the last patch, because a lot of it is being reverted next week. For starters, the headbutt timing is being reverted to its original state. Along with that, his dodge recovery is also being shortened from 700 milliseconds down to 600 milliseconds to put him more in line with the rest of the cast. Lastly, for Warlord, his side lights are getting a damage buff from 12 to 13 damage. So it's just 1 point of damage, and it's there to help him kill enemies that are in critical state. But moving on, the topic, the nerf we've all been waiting for, Centurion. He's getting a pretty good hammering in this coming patch, so rejoice. But let's take a look real quick at what's coming to him. First, his charged heavy attacks are getting a small range reduction. And then there's going to be a 100 millisecond delay between an uncharged heavy finisher and a jab. But now for the big nerf, jabs do not wall splat or wall stagger anymore. This is huge. No more infinite jab heavy combo where he gets you against a wall. And outside of his light parry punish, this was easily the most annoying thing about fighting Centurion. I cannot believe it took them as long as it did to make this change, but at least now we're finally getting it. But wait, there's more. His kick no longer stuns. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but the stamina drain from his jab has been reduced 10 points, and his Eagle Talon stamina cost has been increased from 12 stamina all the way up to 20. All in all, I think this is a solid change to the character, and I think it's going to make him a lot less frustrating to fight against. But what I am worried about, though, is that these changes are just going to make him even more turtley, because his light parry punish is still off the charts powerful, but we'll see how it all plays out. I think this is definitely a good start for an improvement on the character, though. Anyway, let's talk about the last character in the patch notes that's getting significant changes, Shinobi. For him, he's getting a few stamina cost changes to his moves like double dodge kick, backflip, and front roll. These stamina cost changes are going to be decreases in stamina costs. On top of this, his health pool is getting a buff from 90 to 110, and his reflex guard duration is being increased to 800 milliseconds, up from 600 milliseconds. I feel like just the health buff alone makes him a lot more formidable, but I would expect to see a lot more Shinobis running around, especially with this weekend being a double XP weekend. But now that we got character changes out of the way, there are a few more changes coming to the game as a whole. Firstly, in Duel. In Duel currently, if someone quits out in the match, you've got to play the rest of the match against a bot. This is getting changed where if someone quits out, you win the entire match automatically. Furthermore, quitting out and just taking the penalty in order to preserve your precious win-loss stats is no longer viable. You'll still take a loss even when you quit out on top of the 10-minute penalty. With this change, we're also going to see the return of gear stat bars in conjunction with the stat percentages. They didn't show us what this would look like, but I'm pretty excited for it. I've been wanting to have both indicators since they introduced this system back in Season 2. Lastly, another change that might excite some of you comes in the form of control scheme customization. With this change, there's going to be a few different layouts, and while we're not getting the full button customization that we may have been wanting this whole time, this is a start, and some of them are fairly interesting. They're also adding complete customization of dead zones for controller and mouse. This will make stuff like hidden stance and full guard stance a lot more customizable to execute. But that's about it for today, guys. There was a ton of stuff they talked about in this dev stream, but I feel like I hit the high points. If you agree, leave a like, and if I missed anything, leave a comment down below to help fill in the blanks. Also, if you're new here, get subscribed to the channel for more content like this, and if you haven't already, consider joining my Discord to keep the conversation going. Until next time, though, I'm BouseFeenux. I'll see you at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.